Hey guys, Chris here. We're doing Busted Knuckle DIY, and today we're going to take a look at a Martin acoustic guitar that needs a little help. Let's get wrenching. Oh hell, I can fix that. Honey, can you bring me a Band-Aid, please? Okay guys, let's take a look at this thing. Now this is a Martin Custom X series. It's a Dreadnought cutaway. It might even be a little smaller than that. It might even be a parlor. It's a pretty small body. Anyway, it belongs to a friend and coworker of mine, whose major complaint with it is that the Fishman pickup, the electronics in it here, is not producing any sound through the amplifier. So we're definitely going to take a look at that. He didn't mention it, but there's a pretty rough spot here where the finish has been worn away. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we're definitely going to do some kind of a touch-up on that. It's going to show, but that's okay. And then we'll run this thing to a setup, because it looks to me like the string action might be a little on the higher side. But so anyway, the first thing that we're going to do is tune it up to pitch, plug it in, and see if in fact it does or does not make sound, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're all tuned up, and I've got the amp on, and I've got my cable right here, and you should be able to hear the hum, but definitely yes, definitely there is no sound coming through the amplifier. So the first thing that we're going to check is going to be the battery in the preamp, just to make sure that that's not dead. My friend is a pretty accomplished musician, and I'm sure that's not the case, but that's where we're going to start. Let me grab a battery, and we'll double check it. Okay, so I've got myself a 9-volt here. It's definitely got some juice to it. Okay, and see, we're already running into a problem right there. The battery doors that want to come open, so not good, but that's okay. We can get past that. We're going to take the proper sized Phillips here and just go ahead and remove the screws from the preamp and take a look in here, because my guess is a wire or something's probably hanging up on all of that. I actually saw the preamp shift a little bit when we did that, so all the screws feel like they have a bite in it. But anyway, we're gonna take those loose. That one is crusty, but it came out of there, so we're not worried about that. Yeah, now that one, well, it has a little bite, is not particularly that good. Let me see here. Okay, all that looks pretty kosher. I don't see any broken leads or anything, so that part's good. Let me move my stuff and kind of set the guitar body down, and we're gonna fidget with this battery door now that we don't have to worry about damaging the guitar. Okay, well, yeah, found the problem. One, there's absolutely, hopefully you can see that on camera, there's absolutely no battery in the holder. And two, the negative wire that's supposed to solder onto this little clip is not soldered onto it, nor is the clip in place inside the preamp. So this should be a pretty easy fix, guys. We're gonna root around in here and see if we can't find that negative wire, and then solder it back up, put this clip back in place. We should be able to pinch this to where it will hold onto the preamp, and then put a battery in it and see if it goes. Anyway, give me a few minutes, and I'll get back to you on that one. All right, guys, so I got the negative battery lead put back into the box there, and then soldered the wire back up to it, which had also come off. And all that looks really good. And then what I did is I just put a little dab of super glue on both of those to make sure that they don't slide off of there again. It's not going to hurt anything. So we're going to throw a battery in this bad boy and see if we can get some sound out of it. Alright, amp's on. Should be able to hear the buzzing. I've got the guitar turned all the way down. Let's plug it up. Yeah, that's got it. guys know. Acoustic. Yeah, working great. So moving on to the other things that we're going to take a look at while we've got the guitar here. So we're going to take a look at the string action, which is quite high. Just sight this thing up real quick. The truss rod looks like it probably could use an adjustment. And then, so we're just going to go ahead and do a full setup on this, new set of strings, adjust everything out, and then we'll take a look at this spot here on the body that's, you can see is pretty tore up here. Like I said, we'll probably just coat that with a little nitrile just to protect the bare wood. Anyway, let me grab a few things and we'll take a look at getting this thing set up. Okay guys, so we're going to take a look at a few things here as far as setup goes on this. Now there's going to be a couple of things that you need. First, you're going to need a tuner to make sure that you tune it up to the pitch that you normally play in. Your guitar should be set up for your standard tuning. So in this case, he plays in international. He's not doing something crazy like drop D or... Okay, so we're in tune in international. So the second thing we're going to need is going to be a capo. Now I've got this nice trigger capo, but you can use any kind that you want. And what we're going to do is place it on the first fret, right here at the fret wire, just like this. And you want it pretty close to that wire. You want to pin that. Okay, so third thing that we're going to need is going to be a set of feeler gauges. Okay, in this case, we want the one that says 12 1/1000ths of an inch. So let's find my 12th out. There it is, right there. So I'm sure you won't be able to read it on camera, but it does say, yeah, actually you can see it, 12 thousandths. Okay, so what we're going to do, with it capoed at the first fret, okay, we're going to pin the string down, okay, at the body joint, and check the action at the 7th. So in case you're wondering or you're having trouble, right, dots are at 3, 5, 7. So third dot from the front. Some guitars do have one at the first fret. And yeah, that is actually way too low. You hear that clinking sound? How low is it? So what that means is we're going to have to loosen up the truss rod if I can even find the tool. I know some Martins have a really goofy tool. That 12 was pretty tight. Let's try a 10 thou and see here. What is it? Should be 12 thousandths of an inch for neck relief. Yeah, I'm still having to fight that. Wow. That's crazy. So that it's way out of spec here, guys. So what we need to do is loosen the truss rod on it to get this relief, the neck relief. It should not be perfectly straight, guys. There should be a little tiny bit of curvature to the neck, right? A little depression right in this area, okay, when it's strung up to tension, so that the strings clear the frets. Right now, hear it buzzing? Yeah, it's got a tiny bit of fret buzz in it, and the only reason it's tiny is because the string action is too high. Now, how high is it? Well, we're going to check that. And always, guys, when you're making these measurements, you want the guitar in a playing position. Sorry. So, this is a little fret height ruler. Sorry, the glare there. You can use whatever measurements you like. I like to use the scale over here that is in 64ths of an inch. It's a very, very fine measurement, so it's even finer than like a 0.5 millimeter, just for those of you converting. An inch is 24.5 millimeters. So divided by 2 to get halves, you're looking at 49 half millimeters, or 49 increments within an inch's time, or an inch of space. A 64th is 64 increments, so it's a finer measurement, and that's what I use to measure the string height. So in this case, we're just going to set it on here and take a look. Off the bottom. Yeah, and that is easily, right now it's like 6.5, which isn't too bad, but when we loosen that truss rod, that's going to go, guys. So first thing I'm going to do is see if I can find the truss rod tool to make that truss rod adjustment. Once the truss rod, the neck relief has been set, okay, then we can address the string height, which isn't too terrible right now, but like I said, when we actually put the proper amount of relief in the neck, this is going to come up some off the 12th fret, and so we may actually have to file the bridge saddle just a little bit to get that back down. But anyway, let me see if I can find the truss rod tool for this thing, and we'll go from there. Okay, I found the proper thing. Now, you need a very long, this was a 3/16 inch Allen wrench that you have to put in there, and it goes way deep in there. And I backed the truss rod off, actually, guys, quite a bit, about a half a turn. But now, let's double check here. The guitar is tuned up, so yep, that's fine. Capo it at the 1st fret. Find our gauge. That's 14. Was it? Given how much it was out, if we could get it even close to 12, I'd be happy. So we're going to pin it again at the body joint, right here where my finger's at. So in this case, the 13th, 14th, 15th fret, that's the body joint. And again, we're going to measure at the 7th. Yeah, I'm not touching that. That's 11.5 thou. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Now let's take a look at that string action that we've loosened the truss rod up, because it is way up there now, guys. Oh yeah, that is a whopping like 8. Yeah, it's a 7/64s. And 6 on the high E. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 64th of action out of this. Now, to do that, we have to remove and cut down the bridge saddle. Though there's no mystery to this, guys. 6 is well within spec. If we could get to 5.5, that would even be better. But we're certainly going to take 1/64th out of the 12th. Now, to get that, because the 12th fret is half the scale length. So, to get 1/64th of an inch at the 12th fret, we have to double that at the bridge saddle, and there's plenty of meat there for us to take off. So, in this case, we have to take 2/64ths, or 1/32nd of an inch off of the bridge saddle. So we're going to go ahead and get these old strings off of it, get the pins out of here, get this bridge saddle out, get it marked, and get it sanded down. Then we'll get new strings back on here, double check everything, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so we've come out to the shop here. Forgive the lighting, it's not very good. Of course, it's not very good in the house either, but that's okay. Alright, so what we're going to do right here, this area that's tore up, and I've already done it once. I started with a very, very fine sandpaper 240, and all we're trying to do is take these high spots. This guitar took a very hard shot right there. And then I've got some very fine, very, very fine, like 1500 grit paper here. And what I'm going to do is get a little moisture on it and just very gingerly wet sand this area to try to feather off the edges of that clear before we brush some new on, and then we'll try to feather it in. So, again, this type of repair is going to show. We're just going very lightly, a little circular pattern. We're kind of buffing the edges off of the torn up clear coat. We're actually cleaning crap out of the grooves in the body of the instrument. There's a little spot right there. And we're just going to give that a little wet sand. Let me try to go with the grain a little here. Let's get a microfiber, and you can see you'll be able to see the crap that just came out of that. It's actually a lot of funk, so that damage has been there for a while. So we're going to dry that with a microfiber or terry towel. Look at all that crap that came out of that spot there, guys. And then we're going to take my heat gun on low and just dust it over a little bit. Stay off of it. You don't need to get real close. Just to help that dry out a little bit. Remember, stay off, keep moving. You don't want to get anything here too hot. It makes the glue let go and all kinds of bad stuff happen. So, anyway, there we go. There's that. And that's pretty good. That raised the grain in the wood where we wet it. So now we can take a pretty fine grit, what do I got here? This is 600 grit, and I know it sounds weird to go to 1500 and then back to 6, but we're just going to dry sand this time. And again, we're just going to kind of work with the grain of the wood to really try to get this reasonably smooth. And it's coming out fine. Again, this type of repair is going to show again, but yeah, I'm good with that. All right, so anyway, guys, I'm going to grab a couple of things real quick, and I'll get back to you. Okay, now that that's sanded out smooth, what are we going to use to repair it? Now, this guitar has a matte finish on it, so I don't want to put gloss clear coat. So what I'm going to choose to do is actually take a little bit of my light blonde shellac that I use when I'm touching up violins and things, and just put a little of that over it here. So we're just going to put a little of that. So what I've done is I've taken this is a shop towel. This is fine. I've taken a piece of it, torn it off, balled it up in there, and then wrapped this over it. And you see I put a little shellac on it, and all we're going to do is just rub a little bit of this on here. Versus trying to do brushes and fancy stuff. We're going to dab some spots. And what we'll do when this dries in, which the great thing about shellac is it dries really fast. But look at the difference in that already. That's pretty qualitative. You can still see it, but it's way, way better. And yes, while that has a little of a glossy sheen, we'll go over that and wet sand it after we do a couple of coats with our 1500 grit and try to feather it and match it in as best as we can. Again, this is not a cosmetic repair, guys. This is in the interest of protecting the wood on the guitar. So anyway, I'm going to put another coat or two on here and try to sand this back in, and we'll see where we land. All right, guys, while that shellac is setting up, so that we can try to feather that back out and at least make it look respectable, we are going to measure the bridge, the 1/32 of an inch that we need to take off of it. So in this case, we're going to put our super fine little ruler on here and measure that out. Square all that off. Here we go. Got the fine side of my ruler. Let's confirm my measurement here. So hopefully you can see there's a quarter, there's an eighth, there's a 16th, there's a 32nd, which should be approximately 1 mil-ish. Yeah, I'm good with that. So we're going to put the ruler on here. Line up those pencil marks. We're taking just the finest amount off the bridge, guys. Hopefully you can see the pencil mark on that. Maybe. Yeah, kind of, sort of. So anyway, I'm just going to put this on a little belt sander. Now, you can put it flat on a piece of sandpaper and take that off, whatever you want to do, but I've got a belt sander right over here, so I'm just going to take that little 32nd off of here. The bridge will be set, and then we'll come back and we'll try to feather out that shellac and see if we can't make that cosmetic repair and hopefully put this bad boy back together. Okay, well, that took about 2 seconds on the sander. That's nice and flat. That's exactly what we want. We've taken it up to our line, so there's 1/32 of an inch here, so that should take 1/64 off the total action. And we can always adjust this after the fact when we put the new strings on if we need to. So anyway, let me grab that guitar. That shellac's set in pretty good, so let's see if we can't feather that out and make it look a little bit nicer than it was. Okay, so our shellac is dry. And what we're going to do is take this 1500 grit, and it's damp, it's not soaking wet, and we're just going to start feathering this back a little bit. See if we can't take a little bit of that glossy sheen off of it and kind of blend it in with the rest of the matte finish on the guitar. Now right now I know it looks super kind of glossy on camera, because again there is some moisture in the sandpaper. Take some of that off the pick guard that I got a little bit on there. And we're trying to stay mostly off the rest of the finish, so I'm going to come back behind and wipe everything. Maybe give it a little blast with the heat gun. See how we're doing there. Definitely can take a little more off of here. So we're just trying to take that glossy sheen. We're not really trying to take the shellac off. Maybe try to feather that in a little bit. And yeah, that's starting to come along pretty good. A few little shinier spots here, and we're just going to keep going over those very gingerly. Until we get what we want. Well, let's give that a little blast with the heat gun just to help dry things off. Yeah, you can tell that it's been worked, but it's not so bad. Need to get out here a little wider. Tell you what, we're going to go ahead and drop back to a 1500 dry grit and see if we can get something done with that. So we just want to take that sheen and try to even it up. And we got a little bit here on the side, and we went a little wide with our shellac. And I'm not trying to take it all off, that's not the whole point. Yeah, that's actually starting to come along pretty nicely, guys. There's a little spot that you can see in the light, but as a whole, it's not too bad. Anyway, I'm gonna continue to work this just a little bit, smooth it over just a little bit more, and I'll bring you guys back when we're ready to put it back together. Yeah, guys, so got that feathered in about as good as we're gonna get it, and it actually looks really nice. I'm very pleased with that. It came out really good considering how tore up it was. Can't really notice it at all. And then all I did is I took a fine polish and polished the entire top of the guitar as well as the fretboard. It was pretty crusty. It's more of a cleaning polish. It's not a aggressive or anything like that. It was just to, help get everything clean, help get everything feathered in, and so anyway, we're gonna take it back in. Since we've got all that done, we've got our bridge saddle cut. We're gonna put some new strings on it, and take a look at our action and everything like that, and make sure that it's where we want it to be. Alright guys, so the new strings are on, and I put them on yesterday, so the adjustments on the truss rod look great. The bridge where we filed it looks fantastic. The action was very, very nice, but it's set for 24 hours, so I like to double check things because tension over the course of time and things like that can have an effect. So you always want to double check later. Again, I like to let them set overnight. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we're still in tune. It sounds pretty close. A little flat, but nothing serious, especially with brand new strings. That one's good. So that sounds nice. We're in tune. So we're going to take our capo again, and we're going to put it again at the first fret, and we're going to check that neck relief because that's where the biggest effect is going to come in from just allowing things to settle in. So we're going to put that capo right on the first fret wire. Get our feeler gauges. Again, we're shooting for around 12 thou. If you've got really good fret work, you can get away with lower, but factory spec on almost every guitar that I am aware of from any manufacturer is 12 thousandths. Now that is with the first fret capoed off, and I'm going to take my finger, and in this case again on the 15th, right at the body joint, push the string all the way down, and we're going to check the distance of the string above the 7th fret. So let's see here. It's a fraction less than 12, but I think we're going to be right on 11 here, guys, which is super nice. We're not getting any buzzing or anything crazy like that. 11 thousandths is acceptable. Anything over 10. But most guitars, if you get down to that mark, you end up with fret buzz and things like that. So 12 is just the universal. Yep, we're right on 11 thou, and that's just absolutely lovely. You can't ask for nicer than that. We're going to remove the capo from the first fret. I'm very pleased with the neck relief on it now, and we're going to take our little string gauge again and check the string height here at the 12th fret. And we are sitting on the E string just under 6/64, which is fantastic. About 7 is actually spec for these guitars, and on the high E, really nice and low on that. We're just under 5 on the high E string, so I'm very, very pleased here. We're like 5 3/4 64ths of an inch action at the 12th fret. That's nice and low for an acoustic. Just to give you guys an example, Fender Stratocaster, an American Standard Strat, should be at 4 64ths. At the 12th fret. So to be at like 5 3/4 on any acoustic guitar when factory spec is 6.5, 7 is fantastic. Yeah, it's playing beautifully light. We're going to double check up here in this region to make sure that our action isn't so low that we're causing fret buzz. Nice and clear, no problems there. Nice. I have absolutely no problems at all with the setup. I really, really think my friend's gonna like it a lot. The face of the guitar definitely looks a little different here. You can see that our, again, preservation repair, it really was not a cosmetic repair where we did the shellac here over that bare wood to protect it. Really, really came out better than I anticipated. Even as a cosmetic repair, it looks pretty nice. You gotta really focus on it to know that there's something going on there. And all in all, I'm super pleased, and I think my friend will be too. So that's it for this one, guys. If you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, as we got a lot of great future content coming up for you. In the description box below, I will put links to our Facebook page and our email address if you want to drop us a line. So until next time, guys, this is Chris for Busted Knuckle DIY saying, keep wrenching.